Hareini mikabel alai mitzvat aseh shel v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. These are the words that Rabbi Isaac Luria, 16th century mystic, said Jews should begin every day. The first words we say before we recite the morning prayers. If you drive around LA, you see v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha plastered on the backs of plumbers' vans, on bus stops, on homes. If you go to Israel, it's in graffiti on the walls of wherever village you happen to go to. In a way, it's become the Jewish golden rule. Love your neighbor as yourself. Rabbi Hillel added to it. In the first century CE, there's a famous story, you've heard this, I'm sure. A heathen came to him and said, teach me the entire Torah while I stand on one foot. And Rabbi Hillel said, fine. Do not do to your fellow what is hateful to you. All the rest is commentary. Go and learn. So those words of Torah, v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, and Hillel's words, do not do to others, have really been parallel throughout Jewish history, linked forever in Jewish thought. And together, in many ways, they form the core principle of Judaism. In fact, traditional Jews, liberal Jews, across the spectrum, say that it's a moral idea that actually transcends ritual and religious practice. But it's not a command that says, put your neighbor ahead of you. It's not a command that says, be fully selfless. In fact, it's a principle that says, and it picks up on Rabbi Hillel again, who says, in ein ani li mi li, if I am not for myself, well then who will be for me? But instead, it's a command to walk a mile in your neighbor's shoes. It's a command, it's a principle that speaks about empathy. Love your neighbor as yourself demands radical empathy. And it's surely empathy, one of the most difficult of human emotions. How can I, from within my own head, within my own world experiences, truly empathize with yours, with the needs of another? Judaism's answer is, yeah, that's why you have to work at it. No matter how hard it is, no matter how much the challenge seems beyond your reach, keep trying, keep trying. We have to compel ourselves to empathy. And from that place of profound understanding, from that place of compassion for a person in the place where he or she truly is, from that place of identification with another situation, from that place of recognition of their needs as well as our own, well, says Rabbi Hillel, that's the whole Torah. The Torah compels us to empathy. And so the truth is, only when we reach that place, strive to reach that place, only when we consider the genuine needs of others as well as our own, are we fully prepared to act as Jews in the world. Hareini mikabel alai mitzvat aseh shel v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha.
According to our tradition, long after the Israelites crossed the Sea of Reeds, as they stood on the banks of the Jordan River preparing to enter the Promised Land, Moses gathers every Israelite and tells them, Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem. You stand here today, all of you, before Adonai your God. Tribal elders, husbands, wives, children, strangers, wood choppers, and water drawers, to enter into a sacred covenant as God's people. A covenant encapsulated in the ritual and ethical law designed to sustain our people in an ancient world fraught with danger. In doing so, our tradition reminds us that each of us, from the tribal chief to the wood chopper, has a role to play in sustaining our people and fulfilling our people's mission. Tonight, we celebrate the devotion of this temple's leadership, past and present, to fulfilling those responsibilities. But they cannot do it alone. To sustain our Jewish community in a modern world fraught with danger, everyone must pitch in, from the elder to the wood chopper, from the board president to every member of our community. Only in so doing may we preserve our people, and only in so doing may we preserve the freedom bestowed upon us by our Redeemer.
Tonight, we celebrate Shavuot, and Shabbat together. And traditionally, Shavuot has been understood as the time that God gave the Ten Commandments to our people. You know the story. We've been enslaved in Egypt. God freed us. The Red Sea parts. We cross safely. The Egyptians follow us. Bad move. As you know, the sea comes down on them. And if you didn't know it in the Torah, we've all seen the movie. But we trek on this group of nomads through the wilderness. And then, speaking of movies, may I set the scene? We're at the base of Mount Sinai. Jews wake up to thunder and lightning and a blast of the shofar. They see the top of the mountain on fire. There's a big cloud there, and they tremble. And Moses begins his trek all by himself to the very top. The Torah records that God then spoke the Ten Commandments. Some say the people heard just a few, the first two. Others say they heard all of them. We were asked to choose a verse that relates to the giving of the Torah, and I chose a verse from Proverbs, the verse we chant in synagogue as we return the Torah to the ark. Eitz Chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomchecha meushar. It is a tree of life for those who hold on to it, and whoever holds on to it is happy. That's what the Torah is called, our tree of life, our grounding. And just as a tree has roots that ground it, so it is to the Torah for us. However, and this is key, it's up to us whether or not we want to hold on to it. It's up to us to choose whether or not to grasp the Torah. And one of the central reasons that our temple and our schools exist is to offer ways for us to take the Torah seriously. So for me, that means, yes, I embrace the Torah when I'm in concert with what it teaches. That's relatively easy for all of us. But when I learn things that aren't always easy to accept, I try to grapple with them. For me, the rubber meets the road when I don't agree with the Torah. And rather than dismiss it, I try to understand it. That's my way of taking it seriously. And I think we're witnessing in recent months what happens in the Western world, which had been rooted in the Bible, rooted in the Torah, when it loses its footing. It's not good for Jews. It's not good for our world. Those who hold on to it, who embrace the Torah and Bible, are far more likely to embrace Israel and the Jewish people. So let's take advantage of all that the secular world has to offer, and at the same time, let us as Jews have the Torah and Judaism be the prism from which we can navigate our lives. It's the tree of life for those who hold on to it, and whoever holds on to it, Proverbs say, is happy. Think about that. We were given values to shape our lives, and it brings happiness. Values and happiness with whatever challenges our people may face. The gift of the Torah is yet another reminder of what a privilege it is to be a Jew.
A poem recently sort of flashed across my screen, and I was not actually fast enough to capture it. And despite many attempts of Googling with various combinations of words, I did not find it, but yet it has been living in my mind, especially this week and in this season of transitions and changes, and maybe especially in this year of fear and faith. The poem was written from a parent, and while I can't remember the exact words or phrasing that made it so poetic, It was a parent who woke in the middle of the night and jotted down some small errand that they had promised to their child. It was something like cold ice cream or something of the sort. And the line, the part that sticks with me, is the parent of the poem saying, if you wonder if I think about you, I think about you all the time, even when I am not even thinking. Since October 7th, I have turned time and again to the Psalms, the 150 poems of joy and sorrow and hope and desperation, these words of our tradition that run the emotional gamut. And more often than not, I find myself turning to the words of Psalm 121, Esa Enai. And while I usually hum, as Cantor Emma can attest, the opening words, Esa Enai el haharim me'ayin yavo ezri, I lift my eyes to the heavens, from where will my help come? It is actually a later verse that has given me comfort this year, and to which I turn tonight as we transition leadership of this special place. Hine lo yanum velo yishan shomer Yisrael. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Aside from various musical settings, I love the image. I love the idea that, like the parent in the poem, the shomer Yisrael, the one who guards Israel, is always on duty. I think of the brand new parent so worried about every single breath. The shomer Yisrael is always awake and always watchful. Now, it is clear that the psalmist is referring to God when they speak of the shomer Yisrael. It's one of the names we give to God in our tradition. But our tradition also takes it and expands it in different and powerful ways. There is a beautiful piyut, a liturgical poem, that is part of the recitation of Tachanun, which is an almost daily supplication in our tradition, and also part of our Slichot observance when we prepare for the High Holy Days. And in this poetic imagination, Shomer Yisrael is both the God who protects and, it says, the very people who recite Shema Yisrael, the people of Israel themselves. As we know, perhaps too well, we are sometimes protected, and we also have to be our own protectors. And so I've been watching, maybe like the Shomer Yisrael, watching Israelis who are taking to the streets demanding that their government bring their hostages home. I watch our college students proudly wearing their Jewish stars and kippot despite a world telling them maybe they shouldn't. And we watch tonight when officers of our board of directors step into and out of leadership roles, and as we gather to say goodbye to the inimitable Sharon. I know that the work of Jewish leadership, of caring for and protecting the Jewish people, however we understand that, is truly never done. So as we turn to blessings for the community, for our country, and for the state of Israel, we give thanks to our protectors, to the Shomrei Yisrael, to the people who night and day believe not only in Jewish survival, but in Jewish thriving. Hine lo yanum velo yishan, Shomer Yisrael. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps.